Hey, what's going on, guys? Do or Die Ace is High here, and I've got a very special video for you guys today. In New Jersey, where I live, it is a very bad heat wave today, and I've got the day off of work, but I honestly even said to my mechanic that I was supposed to go to earlier, I was actually willing to pay him out of pocket to go and do something with my new truck without involving me, so I don't have to go out of the house. It's actually that hot out that I'm going to go ahead and say I don't want to fucking go outside today. Since we're dealing with a heat wave, I did acquire a whole bunch of new playing cards, so let's go ahead and get right into those. Now, before I get to the big box of stuff, there is a bunch of ones that I acquired just from purchases recently, so let's go ahead and see. These are kind of just accumulated, so not one big purchase, but I am going to first get these Theory 11s out. Okay, the first one I got is the product Red. It's actually a charity against HIV or AIDS, so I guess when you purchase the deck, part of the price that you're paying actually goes toward charities toward that, so nothing wrong with that. It's actually a, once again, Theory 11 deck, so plain on the back. You got your jokers that say stuff like, okay, every deck of product Red playing cards can provide over 3 days of life-saving HIV medication to someone in need. So I'm actually all for a charity like that. They are also a very nice deck of cards, as you can see. Let's see, I think, yeah, the royalty is just about your standard fare for Theory 11 here. Some of them are fancy and some are not, so these guys, I'm not really going to bother playing with them too much. They are basically just your run-of-the-mill Theory 11. Not a bad thing, but if you played with and felt a few of these, you've kind of felt all of them because they all do feel real good in the hand and they warrant the $10 a deck price that they average on. So that is these. Just going to kind of go quick through these because I don't have, or at least I'm not going to spend all day sitting here going through these. So that's the product Red. The next ones, I think what I did was I actually went to Barnes & Noble in like Clifton and bought a whole bunch one day when I happened to be up near a relative's house. These are your Theory 11 Voyagers, which are, I think, like a Native American inspired sort of thing. I did also watch some reviews on these before opening some of them, so we've got the jokers that look like this, your back design that looks this way, which is really nice because that kind of reminds me of both Americana and Native American stuff. So the cards themselves, again, run-of-the-mill Theory 11 with the royalty, and your regular faces are just regular. Let's see if we got anything different as far as the ace. Oh yeah, so Voyager Ace of Hearts, and okay, they all four aces are a little different here. That's your Ace of Clubs, and let's get the Ace of Spades. Oh, I really like that. Okay, so that's that Ace of Spades design. As I've stated with Theory 11, they all feel really good in the hand, so I'm not going to waste the time of shuffling, springing, or doing any of that. If you want to actually see how good these things feel, I would suggest go ahead and buy a couple of Theory 11 decks. I just had a little too much money sitting around to where I bought too many of these things, but they're worth it if you're actually going to play with them. So these are the Voyagers, and let's get to the next one. Let's put these over here, rather. Okay, my next Theory 11 is the 007 James Bond. Believe it or not, I've never actually seen any of the James Bond movies, but I know enough. So this is also inside of a plastic deck protective deck box. You can get these online for like a couple pennies a piece. I think I actually should probably buy, a few hundred more of these things to keep my stuff in, because I have lots of these, decks of cards, rather. So your James Bond 007 cards are... Wait a second, do I even have jokers in here? Let me see. Oh, okay. I don't think I ever really did much besides open these, so that's your 007 Joker design. That's your back design. Pretty elegant and a lot of detail there if you really look. These guys are add cards like they usually do, so let's go ahead and get these out of the way. And not too fancy, but still pretty nice. So you got your 007 Ace of Spades here, which looks nice. All of the number cards and stuff, you got a slightly different font and pip design there, like that. Your Royalty. Oh, Royalty is actually James Bond inspired. He's holding a pen here. I don't know what that's exactly a reference to, but that is something James Bond related. Here you have the king holding a handgun just like James Bond, so a little subtle at first, but this deck is really nice on the design. That's your Ace of Diamonds, which also looks like the face of a watch. Okay, I see what they're doing here. And your red suits are actually closer to an orange. Okay, this is one that I bought, but I quite honestly did not really pull out much because there's so many of them sitting here, so let's go ahead and throw all this stuff back together. And okay, so that is your Theory 11 James Bond deck. If anybody asks, I do actually have time to play with these things, but it's only when I got good downtime like right now, so let's go ahead and get these back where they belong. Okay. Next one, Saturday Night Live. Oh, for anybody who wants like full reviews on these things while I'm thinking of it, there are people on YouTube if you just type in the name of the deck plus review, so not to step on like V Jose 32 or Magic Orthodoxy or the Cardist's toes here, but they will actually sit there for 5 minutes straight with one of these, but got so many that I don't have time to do all that, so you'll get like some good peek at these. But let's see. Alright, so Saturday Night Live deck, there is your Joker design. Back design is pretty cool, kind of reminds me of New York City. Live from New York, it's Saturday night. Just one of your ad cards, which is actually a nice touch here. So the Saturday Night Live deck, slightly different font on your numbers. Your reds are an orange, and let's see, the Royalty is where it gets fancy with these guys. I don't know what all of these things are because I haven't watched SNL in quite a bit, but I did used to watch it, so forgot what that's a reference to if anybody knows. Your Ace of Spades design is pretty nice here. Alright, there's one where I do know exactly what it is, and let's go ahead and retrieve that. That is Will Ferrell, and if anybody remembers, about 20 years ago on SNL, they did a skit where Will Ferrell was said to have been a secret member of Blue Oyster Cult, the rock band, and they're basically having the actors playing the band sit there with Will Ferrell, and he keeps saying, more cowbell, and it became a running gag. So that is actually Will Ferrell dressed as a imaginary member of Blue Oyster Cult for that one skit that is now on the King of Spades here. I think there's actually some references to like Chris Farley and some of the other classic stuff on here too, but I actually don't know entirely what all the stuff in this deck actually is. It's kind of just one of those ones that I think I saw at a Barnes & Noble or somewhere, and I'm like, on a whim, I might as well buy it. Because one that I'll be honest that I will not buy that Theory 11 has out is the Star Wars decks, because I just never saw those movies, never got into it, and I can't see myself paying $10 a deck for cards like that I'm probably not going to ever have out more than once. Okay, so SNL deck is out of the way. Neil Patrick Harris, the actor who played Doogie Howser, who is also a card magician and a few other things, has his own signature deck. Also Theory 11. His got stuff encrypted in here where if you really want to sit there and play with this deck for, not just a few hours, but probably quite a bit, there's a lot of hidden stuff in here for people that like to do those sort of scavenger hunt things. Let's see, you got your Joker design, which is just an eye or something along those lines. So for the encrypted stuff, that is one of the ad cards that has something on here plus this, and if you do this over top of this, that is part of how to get the encrypted stuff out of here, but that's for another day. So the Neil Patrick Harris deck, in typical Theory 11 fashion, does actually look very elegant. I'm loving the back design here. Your red suits are a slightly different red, but not quite orange like the other ones. A little different font on the numbers, and when we get to the royalty, it is just about standard fare, it appears. Okay, so slightly different pips and stuff, but yeah, that's pretty much what you can expect with Theory 11. Let's see, your Ace of Spades has Neil Patrick Harris's initials. So yeah, another very nice one from Theory 11. And these, you know, as I've already stated, are worth the $10 a deck if you're actually going to pull them out and play with them, because, you know, you can get some bicycle decks like Richard Turner's where they feel just as good in the hand for $3.50, but you want ones that actually look nice and feel nice, that are unique. Then Theory 11 is one of your, you know, ways you can go to get what you want there. Okay, more Theory 11. We've got the Provisions. This is one where I realized I had two of these, but one is not open, so I'm going to go to Barnes & Noble and exchange the other one. So these guys are orange on the back with very thin borders. Jokers kind of look like a reference to like an old court jester or something. The double backer makes it look like you have changed the color of something. And once again, okay, so this I kind of thought was interesting because all of your number cards, except for aces, all actually have in the opposite corner a little printed, you know, 3 in this case in the opposite corners. So that plus the unique little design, your orange instead of red, and your diamonds look like this. Ace of Hearts is actually a hand holding the heart pip, which is kind of neat. And the royalty kind of looks like those Japanese tattoo designs, actually. So that's a queen, and that's a jack. So, all right, those are the provisions. And what did I do with those? Okay, I'm going to put these guys back in the box. This is going to be a little bit of a long video, so there's lots and lots more that we're going to get into. Provisions deck is this one, and now the Navigators. These guys are like a nautical design. Again, Theory 11. And this actually reminds me a little bit of the White Artisans, if anybody's seen those by Theory 11, because the White Artisans are a almost all-white deck like this one, and they look pretty nice. So, all right. Getting into these, this is your back design, all white and gold. Captain Ship's wheel, and I guess that's supposed to be like a sea monster holding a bottle or something, but nice little nautical inspired Joker design. You do get your double backer. Oh, even the inside of the box has little printing in there and embossing, which is nice. Theory 11 doesn't mess around, at least with the design, so if you're spending $10 on a deck with them, you at least know when you open the box that it's going to be a nice design all the way through, and not just, you know, somebody that didn't actually feel like coming up with something good that day. So your Ace of Diamonds looks like that. There's your back design one more time, and almost like a blood red on the reds. Little different font on the numbers. That's your Queen of Clubs. That's your Ace of Spades, which looks pretty nice, rather. Let's see what we got. Okay, I think that is actually the tail of a whale or something like that. So, and yeah, more of your royalty. So that's the Navigators. Now, the next one, this is just in the stack with the Theory 11s, but I got these on either eBay or Amazon, I think eBay. The cigarette companies used to actually team up with USPCC and come up with decks of cards that they would release. Just ignore those. Those are Pokemon cards that are just sitting there. So, but yeah, it's a bridge-size bicycle deck and is actually a Cincinnati USPCC deck. So I might only paid $2-3 or $4 or something on eBay, but these were just handed out to promote a cigarette company, and they are a normal bicycle bridge deck from like the 1990s. So nice little thing to have. They did not actually come with a box, by the way, either. Now that one is out of the way. All right, I'm not going to go and open all of these because they're variants, but the Hudson playing cards, they are based off of a design and company from New York City that was discontinued in, I think, the 1870s because they were bought out by another company. So from what I read on these is that this is supposed to be similar to what those cards would have looked like, but it's a slightly different inspiration and reprint. And once again, these are Theory 11, so they do not disappoint. That is the Black Hudsons in one of those protected plastic boxes, which actually I think this is the one I'm going to open in front of everybody because it looks the nicest. You also have a blue and gray variant. They are all the same except for the color. So you got a Black Hudsons. Okay, that is the whole case there, which looks extremely elegant. You got nice gold embossing, and inside of your box even looks cool. Now we've got the Joker designs, which I think are identical. So that's what that looks like. That is your back design of the Black Hudsons. Nice little thin, drawn-out design, which looks pretty nice. Theory 11, unfortunately, only gives you 2 ad cards, so no double backer, but not a big deal because this deck is actually very nice besides this. So, your royalty looks just like standard Theory 11, and your blood red for red faces along with all your fonts and pips. Yeah, they all pretty much, they look just like a standard Theory 11 sort of thing. And what do we got here? Okay, the Ace of Spades, though, for the Hudsons is a very, very intricate design. So if anybody wants to pause it and look at that, that's what that looks like. There's your back design one more time if you really want to get a good look. So that's what these look like, and those were just color variants. So that way I don't spend too much time with just these out. I think the Black Hudsons, as far as what I read, are slightly more sought after, but it doesn't look like there's any reason why they should cost more. So, no, I only paid like $10 a piece for all of these at Barnes & Noble, so the Black Hudsons were sitting there just with the other ones. Okay, now the last 2 Theory 11 before I get into the main thing for this video. I know I've been going on for like 20 minutes here, but these are Theory 11 High Victorian. Red and green. I think I might have actually bought these at Walgreens, but Barnes & Noble would also have them. Another very, very intricate design here. So the green are actually a black deck, and the red are a red deck, so I'm only going to bother pulling one of these out so I don't waste any time. And all right, there is your tuck case. Another really, really fancy looking affair here. I'll be honest, if you see these at Walgreens and you want a nice deck of cards, they're still going to be about $10, but you really can't get disappointed in all of that attention to detail that they did here. Now, we get down to the, all right, run-of-the-mill. That's your back design, but that is just the ad card, so nothing good there. Your back design looks like this, which is really, really interesting if you have time to sit there and just look at all that. The Jokers, there's even more to these things now that I'm even looking at them again, but that is what the Jokers look like. Okay, one red, one black, and for the cards themselves, the High Victorian, they actually did a unique design for all these. So your clubs look like this. Your hearts look like that with a nice little symbol in the middle there. Let's see, diamonds. And the, what else did I not have out here? The spades. Let's see if we got, okay. Here's your 7 of spades. I really like this whole, like, black and gray shading thing they got going on here. So your royalty is not actually printed with faces. That's your jack of spades. That's your queen of spades. And, oh yeah, ace of diamonds. Another nice design. And let's see if I can pull the ace of spades from in here. Yep, your ace of spades is also a really intricate design. So, once again, as I've said about 20 times already here, all the Theory 11 feel incredible in the hand. So since this is the last one of these I'm going to have out for right now, I will go ahead and just do a couple little things to show you just how well these handle. At least for anybody that doesn't already know this. Here's my water. Alright, so your Theory 11 cards, all of them are traditionally cut, which means you have beveled edges on the edges of the cards. That pretty much makes it easier to do things such as a Ferrell shuffle, which is right here. That's how easily and how quickly it went right into one. And, alright, let's do that again. They interlace very quickly. That's because of the beveled edges. They go right together with a one-handed bridge, and when you go to shuffle these things, the stock feels real great in the hand, and everything else, the finish, the cut, kind of speaks for itself here, because this is fresh out of the box. I probably only had these out like once or twice since I bought them, and yeah, right out of the box, they work that well. I mean, I can't really, not really all too good at doing fans and stuff right now, but anything you want to do with Theory 11 cards, you pretty much could do. Although they said to me at Barnes & Noble, I think that the majority of the people that go into Barnes & Noble to buy these things are usually just looking for a fancy deck of cards to play like poker or gin rummy with, which you can do, but for $10 a deck, I'm collecting these things for a much better purpose than that. Now, there is one other one I've got up here before I get to the main box. That's just what I carry my deck in, so leather case, card clip, that's really not what we're doing here. Aladdin 1001s, but these actually have the air cushion finish. Anybody that's actually had Aladdin 1001s or heard of them before, they usually think of the smooth finish because that's the main way they sell them, but you can also go right online and get them with the air cushion. This design, I actually, wasn't really too crazy about the design itself, but these, once I had them out, are a easy one to get online and kind of cheap, but they feel so good in the hand. Once again, I'm like, I'm pretty much biased toward USPCC here, but yeah, you got your, these are from 2010, so you got your Aladdin ad card with a calendar, your guarantee card, for if anything is defective, you can send it back. That is some kind of something or other for the Joker design. I forget what it's supposed to be, but that's what they look like. The back design kind of looks a bit like the old Arco cards. If anybody, usually older than myself, that actually remembers them, the old Arco cards looked a lot like that on the back. Not exactly the same thing, but they're reminiscent. And actually, the deck itself is really not anything too overly fancy, but that's your ace of spades. The rest all looks like a bicycle deck, so it doesn't look like much of anything fancy, but these things in the hand do actually feel so good for like $3-4 a deck, I think, or I think it's like $4 a piece online for these. These are worth it. If you want like a good daily deck you could actually use that doesn't cost you a lot and may not attract too much of the wrong attention, like if you were doing a trick with them, these will pass for like a regular deck of like bicycles, or nobody should question these. And they do actually feel so good that when I was playing with these the other night, I was starting to like these better than some of the ones that were like $10 a deck. These, I think, are also, or at least they feel like they are also traditionally cut, so let's find out. I think they Yeah, because they Ferrell very quickly and easily. Some of the USPCC decks is a little hard to find out if they actually were traditionally cut, but these I think are just because of the way they handle. However, I could be wrong. Okay. So the Aladdin 1001s, that's with the air cushion finish, the way they feel. The smooth finish I've never personally tried, but I'll probably get those at some point. The other little selling point with the Aladdin 1001s is that the stock is meant to, the stock and finish rather, is meant to handle extreme climates. It actually is advertised with these that they can handle the extreme humidity of a country like Singapore, which, I've never been there, but apparently if they've got weather concerns to where they're worried about what cards they're going to use, then these are not only durable for that sort of sense, but just using them over here in New Jersey, well, they feel better than a regular deck of bicycles. So, now, this is actually turning into quite a bit of a long video, but the last bit of what I was going to do here, my neighbor across the street basically was having a yard sale, and when I walked over there, not knowing that he was doing that, he had a whole bunch of decks of cards for sale, and I walked over, started looking at these things, and let's go ahead and get that box. Yeah, there's about 40 decks in here, and pretty much what my neighbor had told me was that he's got a family member who plays poker with a group of friends, and they like to buy, a fresh deck and use a fresh deck once, and then they just put it away and they start accumulating. So he was actually not expecting somebody to walk over that collects these things because he didn't know that I was into that. But let me go ahead and open these up, because when you see what I scored for $40 here, then you will not really be surprised that I went ahead and bought all of them that he had. So it's about 40 decks, and let's see, the majority are red and blue bees. That's what they were playing poker with. However, these are blue seal. These are almost every deck in this box, almost all 40 are blue seal from Cincinnati, Ohio. Actually, all right, this one is from Kentucky, because there's a few that are Kentucky in the box that are just, still another backup deck of bees, but blue seal from Cincinnati. They do actually feel that much better in the hand than the ones they make now. The ones they make now, that would be an example of the same ones. They still feel great because B cards are extremely well made. They are actually meant to be used a lot. So casino stock and traditionally cut. So you're still getting a good product. But these, because they were Cincinnati, they cannot make them anymore. And I'll just give you the rundown quick, because what they did was they moved the factory across the river from Ohio to Kentucky, and they did not save the original printing presses. That's why you'll hear some people, even myself included, that mess around with playing cards that will say, they don't make bicycles like they used to, or, the Cincinnati decks are better than what you can buy now. And although the new printing presses are now starting to make good ones, that was not the case originally. So the fact that you cannot even make these anymore, these are sought after for a reason, in other words. So my neighbor actually said $1 a deck, so I went ahead, just tossed in $40, so I have a big box of these. Handful are Kentucky, but most are Cincinnati Blue Seal. I'm not going to go ahead and empty the whole box, but we got, let's see. Oh, I've even got, for $1 a deck, Cincinnati Blue Seal, and they are sealed, never opened. So yeah. And online, if you went on like eBay or something, some of these are on auction, some of them are not, but even an open played with deck like this, you can probably get about $10-15, maybe a little bit more for just one of these. And I did not buy these with any intention of reselling them. It's just because I actually wanted a bunch of good cards like this. So they're highly sought after, but I bought them because I'm actually going to use them. Now, there's only a few other things in here. Let's just see where I put them. There's a few decks of old school rider backs, or old school rider backs. Blue Seal, also from Cincinnati, also something they don't make anymore. These are the Canadian variant of B cards, which just have a little bit of both English and French printing on the outside, and let's see, manufactured in USA for International Playing Card Company Limited out of Ontario, Canada. So they're probably just about the same as, they probably are the ones they make in the US rather, but in, I guess to sell them in Canada, they want a slightly different box or something. They're pretty much the same as the other Bs, but I guess for collector's sake, they do have a little bit of a different border on the box, and it's also just another good deck here. There's like 4 of these that were in here. Maybe 4 or 5 rider backs, and yeah, the rest of these are basically just all just decks of Bs that I got. So no need to go and open every single one of these things, but these are the ones so far. Then I've also got a few other ones that were also in this same box. So there is a deck of old school red rider backs with the Cincinnati Blue Seal. The old school bicycle rider backs, a lot of these are traditionally cut, so it's just like the rider backs you could buy that are the Richard Turner signature ones that look like just about the same exact thing, except they have that little gold sticker on the back. The Richard Turner ones are pretty much as close as you can get to these, but these actually used to just be what Bicycle used to sell. They just don't have them like this anymore, and they don't make them in Cincinnati anymore. This right here is another thing where I'm not talking about so much the money, but the rarity. It's hard to get these things, so good thing I found these. That's a red rider back. Now, the other couple of ones, that's a red variant of the Canadian Bs inside one of my plastic boxes. This is just a regular Cincinnati. Do I have a couple of these out, I guess? Regular Cincinnati Blue Seal Bs. That is a... Okay. So yeah, those are mostly Cincinnati, as I said. This is the one that I'm surprised was actually in the box, a actual old school deck of Tally-Ho circle backs. These date back to about 1999, and were just part of it. Like, they actually says Andrea's cards on there, so it must have just been some person named Andrea sitting there playing with these things, and the cards themselves are in quite good condition. These, I think, might have actually been played with a little bit more than just once, but the, what do you call it, Tally-Hos, even out of Cincinnati, are just that much better, because I've got regular Tally-Hos in the stack on the table back here that also feel great in the hand, but you cannot get the Cincinnati-made ones anymore. This was another one for $1 for the whole deck. The fact that they're so hard to find is exactly why I'm so happy I found these things, because if you went on, again, for example, onto eBay for just one of these, in this condition, you could probably get away with putting a $10 or $15 price tag on them just because they don't actually make them anymore, and the cards themselves, let's just say this person did actually keep their stuff in good shape because they don't even really feel like they were used very much. But as I was saying here, traditionally cut is the case for the Tally-Hos also. Yep, a Ferrell quickly and easily. Yeah, that sound, that alone makes it worth the $1 for these things. But yeah, glad I acquired a huge box of these. And yeah, so it's very hot out over here. I'm probably just going to be sitting at the table playing around with these guys all day, but I got the day off of work anyway, so. All right, thanks, guys. Stay tuned. I'll come back soon with something, but this was just something where I figured I would get this out of the way since I had a whole bunch of these things and a video was long overdue. All right, take it easy, guys, and stay safe out there.